This is One Broke Gamer Girl, and this is my review of Marvel's Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4. To be honest, I wasn't even supposed to play this game. I was either going to wait until it went on sale at Christmas time, or I was just going to skip it altogether. It just so happens that I went on a little bit of a game binge and purchased a bunch of games, and this was one of them. I went in with really no hype or prior judgment because I didn't read much into it. After almost 2 weeks, I fully completed the game and got myself another Platinum Trophy, so that means it's time for a review. In Marvel's Spider-Man, you'll play as, well, Spider-Man. When you're not playing as Spider-Man, you'll be playing as Peter Parker. So everyone knows the story of Spider-Man. He was bitten by a radioactive spider and got spider-like powers. Now he takes down the bad guys of New York City and tries to be a do-gooder. In this little adventure, you'll be taking down some small-time criminals, someone that is close to Peter, and he admires, and Peter's mentor that has gone a little insane. During this time, you'll swing your way through New York City and take on various different tasks in various different locations. You'll also get to play as MJ, Spider-Man/Peter's ex-girlfriend, and Miles, someone that Peter comes across later on in the game after some events. While they don't have Spider-Man powers, they still have missions and have to be super sneaky and use their own ways to get around instead of webbing, punching, and kicking their way through missions. You'll also see what Mayor Osborn is up to during this time, and how he plays a role in the whole scheme of things. The adventure is an overall interesting one, and of course ends on a cliffhanger that leaves this series open to multiple sequels.
SWAT is 1084 at Fisk Tower. All units stand by. Warrant is en route.
When it comes to this game, I'm 50-50 on the enjoyability of it. I really like swinging through New York City and completing various side missions, finding the collectibles, and completing the many different hideouts and labs throughout the city. On the other hand, I really could not get invested into the story until the very end of the game. After that, it felt like it was a little bit too late and the story was over and it ended on a little bit of a sour note. I do have to say, while I didn't like the first post-credits scene that revealed something to Peter, I did enjoy the second post-credits scene, and it was one of those scenes that is going to make me buy the next game. That being said, I really feel that the story of the game fell flat. It tried to push too much into too little of a game. What are the chances that all of Spider-Man's arch-enemies get out of jail in one major jailbreak and wreak havoc on the streets of New York City? What does that leave for the next game then? I think that the story was just too much. It would have been fine with just one main enemy to fight and then leave the other enemies for other games. It was like they just forced all these huge enemy boss battles into a small period of time, which was at the end of the game, and it made it less enjoyable. The playability of this game isn't bad. The kicking, punching, and webbing stuff kind of felt like a Batman game and got boring really fast. There are only so many times that you can just beat people up before it becomes way too routine and feels like a chore. The swinging through New York City and taking on various other activities, though, was phenomenal and was some of the most fun that I've had throughout the game. At first, I thought the swinging part would be difficult and just too complicated, but it was made flawlessly and it was done in a way where it was extremely easy to get used to, and it felt like when you weren't swinging, it was a huge hassle. I really enjoyed the fact as well that the game just played flawlessly. There were no bugs or glitches or any other problems that I encountered throughout my whole playthrough. I didn't have to worry about the game crashing or anything else, and that made it even better. My favorite part of this game was the graphics, but not all of the graphics. My favorite graphics were, of course, the cityscape. How could you not love how New York City was built in this game and just how real it felt? The views were just amazing, and one of my favorite parts of the game was swinging through Times Square, which was done perfectly. Like I said before, though, not all of the graphics were great, and I felt like a lot of the cutscenes suffered in the graphics department. The faces were a little awkward at times, and although they looked real, in the same sense, they just looked off. I can honestly say the only face that was done completely right in the game was the cameo from Stan Lee. The rest of the faces were just not that impressive. Not to mention, the people in the street were the same repeat of people throughout the whole game. Once again, I realized that there are a lot of people that needed to be generated, but a little change in different areas would have been nice to see.
Morning, guys! Who's ready for their hot, fresh cup of bodily harm? Gotta warn you, I'm feeling punchy today. Next customer. This doesn't look good.
Somebody just shoot him!
Man, Fisk has a lot of guys on his payroll.
Now for the trophies. There are a total of 51 trophies for this game, and each of them are super easy to get, making this probably the easiest AAA Platinum trophy that I've ever gotten. There is nothing that is missable, and as long as you complete the game to 100% and do everything this game has to offer, there isn't a reason why you wouldn't get the Platinum trophy for this game. I can't say that there was a time I thought I wouldn't get the Platinum trophy, because even though there are a lot of collectibles and things to do, they just come naturally during the course of the game. Even the little silly trophies that are thrown in there, like getting to the top of the Avengers Tower, is just something that you'll eventually do. Not to mention that all of the collectibles are marked out clearly on the map, and there's no way that you'll even miss anything. This is strictly a single-player game, and I like that. Kudos to the developers of this game for not adding on some tacked-on multiplayer, although I'm not sure how that would have even worked. I really like that a lot of the Sony exclusives concentrate on being single-player orientated for us non-multiplayer people out there. Overall, I give this game a 3 out of 5. Here's what's great about it. Swinging through New York City is the best part of this game and one of the most fun things to do in this game. Not to mention, it's also flawless and it isn't complicated at all. This game is packed with content, from story missions to side missions to collectibles, and just taking down bad guys, that there isn't a time when you're searching for things to do. Not only is swinging through New York City fun, but the graphics for the city are spot on and beautifully crafted. It's really amazing how real and how lifelike the city looked in this game. Can I just add at how amazed I was that there was no bugs or glitches in this game that hindered it in any way? This was a really big accomplishment and something you don't see often for a AAA game. Here's what's not so great about it. This game tried to pack way too much of a game into too little of a time frame. The story was overloaded with almost all of Spider-Man's biggest enemies, and instead of doing this, the game could have concentrated on one main enemy, leaving the game open to even more sequels. This would have made the story more personal and less of a big clusterfuck by the end of the game. The kicking, punching, and webbing got old way too early, as it was the same thing over and over again without change. Yes, you could use different webs and different abilities based on the suit you wore, but it just didn't matter. It was the same thing for each fight, and it got boring really fast. While some of the visuals were nice, the cutscenes were sorely lacking, and the facial animations felt like they tried way too hard to project, and they just didn't. This was a big disappointment, because the scenery was nice, but the main cutscenes were not. Not to mention the people on the streets of New York City were way too repetitive. Even though I'm not the biggest Spider-Man fan, I was able to see both the good and bad of this game. I will say for the most part, the game was a good one, but the main story was lacking, and that kind of took away from the immersion of the game. Story missions, especially the ones where you didn't play as Spider-Man, felt way too tedious and also had the insta-fail moments in them that made them frustrating. This game also ended on a bit of a sour note that wasn't all that pleasant, but in the same time, the appeal of a sequel was there and will make me come back for another dose of Spider-Man. I would say that if you're a huge Spider-Man fan, you'll want to get this game. It features almost all of Spider-Man's arch enemies and all of the familiar faces of the characters that you know and love. If you're not a Spider-Man fan, I would say that if you like the feel of a Batman/Infamous type game, then you'll enjoy this game. You might want to pick it up on sale though, instead of paying the full $60 for it. If not, I would say that even though this is an easy platinum trophy, to go ahead and skip this game because it's going to get boring really fast and your money could be spent somewhere else.
I think that's all of them.
Come on, come on! They shut the elevators down! Take the stairs!
I prefer a more direct approach.
Spider-Man, status.
Heading to the upper floors, and hoping nobody turns on the elevators.
Our choppers are taking fire. Looks like Fisk has armed men on every floor.
He's desperate.
And he's hitting us with everything he's got.
I have to find him and end this.
Not yet. We just picked up chatter. They're wiping all their data servers. We need that evidence if we want to put him away for good.
Okay, server room it is. Call from May. Better answer. Hi, Aunt May.
What is all that noise?
Watching a superhero movie. What's up?
I just wanted to make sure we're still on for dinner tomorrow night.
Totally. Listen, I gotta go.
Well, okay. Love you.
Love you too. Gotta find that server room. That's my key.
Spider-Man! Hey, tough guy!
Hold him so he can't jump around.
How exactly do you think this ends well for you?
Alright, let's finish him off! You got lucky. I won't you die!
On to the next one.
This is for the boss!
Gotta find that server room before there's no evidence left. Don't see how there could be servers on this floor. If I go in this way, they'll destroy all the evidence.
This is One Broke Gamer Girl. I just want to say a big thank you for watching this video. If you liked what you just watched, then go ahead and hit that like button down below. One more thing, since you've already hit the like button down below. You've already hit the like button down below, right? Well then, why not go ahead and go one step further and leave a comment too. Since you've already hit the like button and left a comment, you did both of those already, right? Then why not just take one more tiny little step and hit the subscribe button as well? Just one more thing, since you've already come this far. Would you kindly check out the links in the description? That way you can follow me on Twitter, Twitch, and maybe even check out my blog.